Hi guys, welcome back. All right, so let's get into this. We are going to take a look at the collective message, and I want to start out with chakra deck. By the way, later on today, I think I'm going to release some chakra videos that I previously recorded about a year ago in the members only corner, and I think I'm going to share that on video series publicly because I feel like there's maybe some good like added inspiration out of that. Anyway, we've got the King of Swords, and it is sideways. We right now we got a Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, and it seems like someone's crown chakra is pretty activated, or he's trying to let it be activated. There's a little bit of resistance here. Not much, though. It's the card's not upright. It ended up sideways. So there's recognition of maybe what someone would like to expand into. Hi, guys. Great to see you. There's definitely like a sense of awareness. There's something that is building or growing for a character, possibly a divine masculine air sign. Now, it could also be that this character is recognizing some things, and so is another individual. Could be shared energy. King of Cups, Nine of Cups, again, crown chakra. And now we've also got that sacral chakra. There's something here about this character is recognizing I would be so much happier if I allowed myself to love, if I allowed myself to open up my heart to feel the emotions that I feel anyway. Sometimes a King of Swords, especially when it's kind of not in the upright position, instead of being, you know, fair and balanced and logical, they can be like, let's consider them somebody who's dropped a gate, even if they know it's not sensible. Whereas a king upright wouldn't do that. So someone who's been, let's put it this way, applying logic in the wrong way. If you thought at some point, like, my emotions are a hindrance to me, it makes me weak to love. Even though I do love, and it's a nice feeling, but I can't just let myself feel that way. That's what I would say we're talking about. And I think that this character is coming to this. I mean, you can't hide what you know. You know, there are certain things in life that are just like, this is true. This is correct. And I can't unsee it anymore. So I want to say that a really positive energy is actually building in him. Certainly a sense of like, desire and, you know, hopes, dreams, emotions, sensuality. And the crown chakra is opening up saying, but the pursuit of love is that the best thing any human could ever express. You know, it doesn't require communication, but communication certainly allows us to have a more elaborate expression of love. But we don't have to even have communication to be able to express love. I mean, look at animals. Animals express love to us all the time, and they don't have communication, or at least not human communication. And so I'm just feeling like this is something he doesn't need words to know what he knows to be true. And at this point, with the crown chakra opening up, even though he's still resisting it just a smidge, like, again, I do this, I don't know if I can do this. We got the Princess of Coins sideways. This is the heart chakra. There's the question mark of, do I go ahead and say how I feel? Do I go ahead and talk, send a message? This would be communication. This would be the offer of, my heart needs to say something. Can I do this? He is fighting it in this storyline. He's definitely only halfway there. So the knowledge, 100%, right? He knows what he wants. That part is a massive breakthrough. The, will I take this action? I'm fighting with myself. Guys, I'm so glad you're here. Wonderful to see all of you. We've got the Chariot sideways. Boy, we keep getting these sideways cards. At the root chakra, the root foundation, here's the thing. Maybe this is the other component of this. This would be about communicating from the heart. This is the truth. The bigger truth is, I don't want to just send a communication. I actually want to be in the presence of this person. It could be snowing wherever she is, or it's like his thoughts are, you know, like, maybe he left her in the cold at some point in a snowy little blizzard, you know, metaphorically speaking. But we've got the horse-drawn carriage. This is a decidedly like Western looking carriage to me. So I don't know if, she lives in the West or something, but it still is like, the truth is I would rather move directly toward her. The truth is I don't just want to talk. I want to be around her. I want to be in her presence. Can I do that? Am I going to be allowed to do that? Let's see. We've got the Ten of Swords sideways. Okay, we're going to change the decks because I do want to see if we're going to keep getting sideways cards or if this is just this deck is like determined. I mean, we only had 2 upright and everything else is sideways. This is that solar plexus chakra. It's a house of willpower. Obviously, the biggest component here is, and keep in mind, this is his logical mind sifting through these thoughts, right? His emotions, what he actually wants, he would be happier expressing emotions. He knows that. But the reality of being able to do it is, do I send a message when in truth, I actually want to see her? But the other reality is, what if it's completely over? I don't know if he's worried that it feels like he put 10 swords in her back, and maybe he's acknowledging that. Maybe he just knows, like, wherever her willpower is, if she would push back and be like, I don't care to hear from you. This has been a long time since they've talked. I would definitely say this has been a long time of silence, probably more than 10 months, maybe more than 10 years. I don't know. But let's switch over to another deck, and just so we can be really fair. All right. What is prompting this character to feel this way? 6 of Wands. Actually, they're having a positive breakthrough. So they do feel more empowered on one hand. That's terrific. So this, I will say that these 2 cards, this is the evidence of them actually like being honest with themselves and feeling empowered enough to say, I love this person. I know I'd be happier if I just admitted it and just, expressed emotion. I know that that would be a better thing for me. So that's actually really nice. We're getting upright cards. Knight of Wands. There's also an energy of passion. I don't know if this person has had a surge of like, better health, better energy flow, more creative energy. It definitely is being channeled into passion and desire for them. Okay, let's go back over and say, so what's your hang up? What's your hold up? What's your boggle, dude? King of Swords. So every time we talk about the boggle, he's a King of Swords. But this time he's upright. This big old brain of his gets in the way. But when I say what's the problem, he's like, the reality is the problem. I know what I want. I know how I feel. I know that there's some element of me that feels like better, stronger, more at peace, more able to acknowledge what would be the right choice. But damn, I got this reality check, which is all of these cards, right? The reality check. I'm thinking that the complication part of this is, how do I either open up dialogue, or isn't it over? Let's ask, what's the Ten of Swords in your reality check element? We just got one more sideways cards. The 3 of Wands and the 2 of Swords. Again, I would say it's, what if she doesn't want to talk to me anymore? What if she's put up a blockage? What if I'm the only one who could still see a future here? What if she doesn't? Well, yeah, everybody has personal choice. There was never going to be a guarantee that no matter what, that she's going to want you, whether you guys had an ending, a bad ending, a good ending, whatever. There's no guarantees that anybody is going to say yes to you. That's always the case in life. Okay. What about the Chariot sideways? 10 of Cups and the Wheel of Fortune. So I really think that he is struggling with the reality of, A, what if she doesn't really want to be with me? But then what about, like, at the foundational level, everything for him feels like, this is the time of my life. I really want this home. I want to come home. And I do feel like there's this element of, maybe he didn't want to be in a long-term relationship before. Now that's everything here says, this is what I want. I want to be in a long-term. I want to be cuddled up in the winter. I want to be sunbathing in the summer. I want to be home. I get this distinct impression this could even be somebody that's like, they may not be ready to retire at the moment, but that could be kind of in the not too distant future for them. And they're already like, I want this for my long term. I want this to be my next chapter of life. What if that's not going to work? What if she doesn't want me home? What if she doesn't have the same image? Okay, tell me about the Princess of Coins, because that's the conversation bit. That obstacle here. We got the 8 of Coins in the reverse. He can't figure out what to say. For somebody who deals all in words and he can't figure out what to say, sits down, and I'm literally picturing somebody who is normally, you know, eloquent, great brain, maybe succinct with their words, but they sit down and kind of like get frustrated. I'm picturing somebody who's like, Hulk smash, you know, when he's trying to put together words and nothing, no sentence, you know, is put together the way he wants it to sound, you know. Oh my God, welcome to the world of anybody who tries writing. Oh, I can spend an hour and a half on a paragraph that is, no, I could say it this way. No, I could say it that way. And it's like, just get the message out. But nuances matter. I so like sympathize with this character right now, especially because this is his breakthrough moment. This is his, if I try to talk to her, what the hell am I going to say? I can't even sit down and work on this. I can't get the first sentence out. If he has to, like, because this can be a written message, right? Because this is more like a handed over, more tangible thing instead of just words. So I'm thinking that the message that he would first, the overture, it's got to be the hook, right? Just like a song, you got to hear the hook. He needs Timbaland to jump on in and get some juicy hook to his beat. We need something. Sorry, I love Timbaland. I love pretty much all of his music. I think he's got some of the sauciest hooks I've ever heard. But this just feels like that's what he needs, is something that will, you know, what I say, especially in a very short message, it has to be the right thing. I don't even know how to say the right thing. Okay, so his problem is his beautiful brain, right? His problem is his intellect, his words. All of this is actually right now being a setback for him. It's funny how he's got the purple cloak on here as well. And, you know, of course, it's associated here with the crown chakra also. Nor A, thank you, Angel. You're so sweet. Thank you. So generous. This, to me, is looking like he's just really struggling with, what do I do here? How do I move this thing forward? I think if he goes back over to the nonverbal side of it, right, the emotions and the sense of like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better in my life right now. I feel so much more passionate. I feel so inspired. I feel like he might be able to, like, basically stop thinking and just do. You know, once in a while we can, let's use this as an example, because I know I've done this. You go in for an interview for anything. Let's say it's a job. Let's say it's, you know, you're hoping to make the cut and, you know, whatever, a program or something, and get your foot in. And you have your interview. And there's a couple different approaches. You can rehearse, try to remember your lines, try to get all amped up and have a script. Or you can say, I don't think my brain can function like that. I can't hold a script because I'm going to spend more time freaking out about what I tried to memorize. And when we get nervous, we forget what we memorized. Or I can go in and I can go in like a blank slate. I can intentionally dump everything else out of my head, listen to some music, bounce around, totally relax, and then just walk in and say, you know what, I'm excited to be here. And then be the natural self, answer off the cuff, say what comes off the top of your head, whatever pops off. And that sometimes is the better route to take. All I can say is it's a better route for me. It's always been the better route for me. I can't do pre-rehearsed anything. I suck. I'm not saying that I don't suck and burn and crash out plenty of times if I don't rehearse either. But I think you front load some rehearsal and then you just leave it alone. And then, you know, a couple days later, you go to whatever you're going to, and then you just see what you do. You just say whatever is actually in your heart, in your head, whatever it is. And that's always done better for me. It's definitely reduced my stress. That's the way I do things. And I'm thinking that for him, somebody who is so intelligent and so cerebral, if that is his stumbling block, maybe he needs to get out of I mean, it can be such a wonderful thing to have such a great brain, but you can't always craft the right words, especially when you're dealing with emotions. How do you translate all the feels into just the right words? I mean, a really excellent poet could do it, but even then, you know, the reason poetry is something that explains more about emotions than like just dry clinical writing is because emotions are so nuanced and you've got to be able to use metaphor. And so unless he's going to write her poetry that could still be fairly obscure, he's probably still not going to find the right words. So maybe he should stop trying and he should just take action that his heart propels him forward to. That's just my thought. I don't know if that's right. Let's see what he's going to do. 10 of Wands. Oh, he's out on the stormy ship. The great thing is this is a wind up. When you get to any 10s, you know, it's an element of like, we're completing this cycle, and he's been out on the stormy seas carrying this heavy cargo. It's about time to lay this down. And we know what the burden is, right? We've seen it throughout this whole thing. All the thoughts, all the thoughts, all the thoughts. There we go. He is going to land the plane. We literally have, if this is her, he's ready to just go talk to his Queen of Pentacles, which is, I think, what his whole instinct has been this whole time is, I don't actually even just want to talk to her. I want to see her. That's the truth of it. I just got to see her. Maybe he needs to see her eyeball to eyeball, right? She got sunglasses on. Again, this is just like him saying, I don't know what she's going to say or do. What if she doesn't want this? He keeps saying, I can't see her eyes. So he may know that her eyes will tell him. She may be very expressive, by the way, but her eyes will tell him much about, you know, how she really feels. He won't even need the verbal communication because she may be someone who like expresses and emotes really clearly. Maybe that's the other reason he's like, I won't really know what she thinks or what she wants if I just text or call. I need to see her eyes. And to do that, I got to get to where she's at. I definitely feel like all of this whole story is close the gap. You need to be in front of the person to express your emotions. I think all of his issue has been, I can't talk what I'm feeling. I have to be like merging energy. If she's going to even believe me and know that I'm saying something that's real, she's going to want to see and feel my energy anyway. I think he knows it about her, but more importantly, that's how he is with her. I really feel like as gifted as he is, as intelligent as he is, and he is, because he's come across as a king 3 times in a row, just like she's come out as a queen. It's funny how the king that should be the best with communication, this is the biggest stumbling block ever for them, is communication. We've got the star upright. Definitely like to heal things, she is at a distance for sure. But if there's going to be the chance to heal things, if there's going to be the chance to like, for him to read her reaction also to figure out, does she know that I'm serious? Does she know that I really mean it? I think he even knows deep down it's not going to ring true to her unless I put in some effort. I better show up. I better show her that I am here. You know, there is something to say about putting yourself in someone's line of vision, because it's very much like I put in this much effort so that you could see the sincerity in me. And I think he knows that might be the only way she's ever going to take him serious. But it's also, I think, better for him because he's struggling with words. He's got to be able to emote. 6 of Pentacles. These two could really get to some space of peace. I keep thinking he's, you know, I said before, it's like if he's trying to write, it could become so frustrating. It's like Hulk smash. And here we have like probably a nonverbal, you know, polar bear sitting here, and then but he wants to be here, right? He brought his little cello and she's over here playing the violin or the viola or whatever this is. And I just kind of feel like this is not going to be a situation where a ton of dialogue will do the trick. This is one where spending time around each other, being face to face, nose to nose, eyeball to eyeball, he has to show I'm here to play in this symphony with you, even if I don't know how to say those words. I think she will be able to pick up on somebody is, and I'm not a musician, have no musical talent. I imagine that if you are a musician of any kind, and then you're going to play music with another person, and you got to see, do we play the same way? Like, how do you get cohesive bands, right? How do bands manage to jam together and they don't have music already written, but they're flowing, like on stage in front of you. And it's like they're all kind of like this hive mind all of a sudden, where they kind of know how to complement each other's sounds. They know when to like let each band member maybe shine. They know when to let, a little guitar solo go, and then guitar backs off, and then they add in just a little bit of inflections here and there. And it creates this incredible sound. I've had musician friends, and some of my favorite things they ever did were the ones that were like, they're like, what do you mean that was a warm up? And I'm like, no, that needs to be recorded. And they're like, well, it was a warm up. It was improv. We don't really know what we just played. And I'm like, oh my God, you need me to tell you these things and record these things. Because there's gold in those warm ups, there's at least to my ear, it's beautiful. They thought it was really funny that I was like so frustrated. I'm like, that was like the best thing I've ever heard you guys play. It's not a song, it's a warm up. But I'm feeling like to play together, to harmonize energy, you got to be around each other. And sometimes it is nonverbal. And sometimes the only way these two are going to get like that subconscious understanding, the only way she's going to understand that he's serious, he believes this, is if he's around her, if he shows up, if he puts in some effort. And I think this is what he's coming to the conclusion of because of that 10. He's pretty much done with this fretting and trying to write something that he can't write, and knowing full well, he already knows deep down, there's really only one way to handle this. And so you can fight it and you can try to find ways around it, or you can finally surrender and go, I know what I have to do. And maybe this is scary too, to just go and approach somebody. But I think he knows this is the only way. He's definitely I feel like he's been sifting through this thought process. How do I handle this? What do I do? What do I do? And, sometimes when we get through a thought process and we keep crossing off, no, that wouldn't work because X, Y, or Z. Okay, what if I did this? No. Sending an email? No, I can't even write it. Okay, cross that off. What if I send just a brief text, may I see you? That still doesn't, I need to see her. I think that's what this boils down to. Not saying that communication, I think she's probably going to lead the communication. Because I think that will be easier in some ways. Then he can reply, but it's mostly him showing up is the very big explanation. He knows he's dealing with a high priestess. She will absolutely be able to read his actions, his behaviors. And this is very timely. I'm glad I'm leaving this backdrop up. I think maybe this week, because I really like the strawberry moon. I'd like to see what the continued energy flow is. But she got the moon right behind her. He knows and she knows that she can read him really, really, really well. She's always been able to read him. And I think this is like, I hope she can read me again if I show up, and then she'll know what that means. I don't think he's off at all on that. I think this is who she is. I think this is, let's ask about her. You come across as a high priestess, are you? The star. And he saw her as a star also. Yes, I would say that's spot on. She is somebody who's got a certain gift to her. She may know this is her gift. She may use her gift. She is somebody who's like a little bit, she may know she's a little bit unique. She's a little bit, well, we got fairy wings here. We're dealing with a little fairy with a little bit of a magic wand. And I just want to say that I think she tends to be a little bit aloof herself, but also really kind. She may have to withdraw from people sometimes because other people's energy can be like, wow, that's a lot to absorb. So she may keep little boundaries and distance for like a buffer zone around herself because she is an empath. She may secretly know this about herself, but probably doesn't broadcast it. She got kind of a, I'm hearing that song, She Moves in Mysterious Ways. She perhaps tends to be somebody who gives the illusion of like really connecting super well with people, when in fact she lets very few people into like the final, I'll say like energy field that she keeps surrounding her. I think she's like super kind, but she also, like, I could picture her being the person who shows up, helps out at, you know, whatever, the family barbecue, blah, blah, blah. But she keeps herself busy the whole time, smiles at everybody, but doesn't actually necessarily just sit down and kick it for 4 hours. That might give her stress hives to even think about doing that. Like, I don't think I can sit and have that much energy coming directly at me from a whole group, but I can certainly be there buzzing around as long as I have a little buffer zone. And other people might not ever notice. That's why she stays busy. It's like, I don't think I can sit there and have that much energy coming at me and have to respond that much all the time. But if I'm performing other functions, I'm fine with it. And I feel like she's got this secret way of managing how she handles her empathic energy. Maybe this is explaining why these two could be such a great match. He's not that good with words. I don't think she's that good with absorbing a ton of words. I kind of think that she is somebody who would prefer, sorry, my phone's blowing up, that she would prefer even his silence. And here he is, the King of Swords. So we keep seeing him, the King of Swords, King of Swords, King of Swords. He could definitely be Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. She could be Aquarius. She could be Virgo, Cancer, Pisces, Taurus, Capricorn. Did I miss anything there? Again, with possibly Cancer. It's so funny because in some ways, this could be one of those reasons that she knows he's not that great with words, but it's kind of a relief because not everything is communication, you know, rushing at me all the time. We have been sideways. Look, I think she has wished or manifested that whatever's in the greatest and highest good, of course, but she may have either, she obviously still cared about him. She also says, I never knew all of him, because there's that messenger, there's that bird in front of one eye. I feel like she always knew that there was more that he needed to explain about himself that she never heard. She's not somebody who's like, oh, that bastard, you know, she's not mad at him or anything. But I do think she knows she never got full transparency of who he was. Look, he's got some kind of tattered skeletons in his closet. Whomever he is, he never revealed everything. She thinks he's basically a decent person, sucks with words, and definitely has some hidden traumas. She's probably spot on. So I think instead of her getting pissed or mad, she may have just wished him well. And she may have also been in the energy of, you know what, I can't manifest a person back, you know, because everybody has free will and you never want to take their free will. But if it is at some point in the greatest and highest good that we interact again, so be it. It's funny because she made peace with letting him go while still saying, who knows, birds are migratory creatures. Sometimes they show back up if it's meant to be. That's it. That's it. She's been very calm, very peaceful. I say that, and then we have the devil. With that Temperance card, she either has a hint that he had some kind of toxic person in his world, or she knows to safeguard against herself becoming too hyper-focused on this because she doesn't want to get herself into a trap. You know, I'm going to say that that's probably the most astute thing I can think of for an empath, to know that that is the weak spot for an empath. Get in your feels. You get stuck in your feels. You start to pay attention, too much attention to, you say you can let it go and whatever's meant to be, but then, oh, I'll keep thinking good thoughts at them, and oh, I'll keep wanting them, and I'll keep, you know, and they're probably going to return because, you know, if it's in the greatest and highest good, but then it becomes like more of this little cyclical mantra, and now pretty soon you're trying to manifest it when you said you weren't going to. I'm kind of picturing she knows all too well how to avoid that. I'm thinking she's a pretty skilled empath at this point. She's probably old enough to have figured some of this stuff out or to ward against them. Because if you say you give the lip service, I'm not gonna be hooked on them. No, I'm so not gonna do that. And then you still do it, I feel like she can catch herself and be like, whoa, too much thought about this. She's been like, I think she has like a little, I don't know what her practice is, that she puts like a nice little boundary when her brain starts to go too much into the, I can release. No, I'm going to grab on again. Oh my God, signs and syncs. Thank you, Angel. If your name just became green in the chat, you guys, that is you becoming a member courtesy of Signs and Syncs. So Gem, Divine Feminine 1111, Wild One, Tempted Lotus, Ebony Holmes, Blessed Star, Brile, Kat Doherty, Jillian, Dismals, all of you are now members, all courtesy of Signs and Syncs. What that means is that every Monday, I post a members only video. You guys every week vote on what series you want. Once a month, I go live and do a 2-hour session of card pulls just for members only. And every Monday, we pick a winner and I do a card pull session storytelling for a winner. So you have access to all that. You can check the members playlist and you will find all of that. So anyway, thank you again. Signs and Syncs, you incredible angel. Thank you. Again and again, I've lost track of how many different memberships you've gifted. LMC has gifted, AC has gifted, Karen has gifted. I mean, just on and on. You guys are so incredibly kind and generous. Thank you, everybody. Especially Signs and Syncs. Thank you, love. Okay, so I feel like she's warding against anything that is going to get her stuck on a cycle, stuck in a routine. Let's go ahead and get 5 of Wands. That's the cycle. She knows she can start thinking too much, not only about him, but about other people. So, and, worry about them and chess play out in her mind what might happen. It's probably because she's a really good, let me put it this way. I think an empath who can pick up on other energies around her maybe has a good capacity to understand motive, to understand what makes somebody tick, and then from there can kind of see the predictive outcome without even meaning to of the possibilities of how someone is going to react. I'm thinking about them, I'm wishing them well, I know that they were a good person, I know that they have some tarnished stuff, I know I didn't get all the story about, I know that I think they cared about me, which probably means they're going to come back into my life at some point, which probably means they didn't get everything off their chest. An empath is also going to be a magnet for people to want to express sometimes their pain, their trauma, or act out the stuff that hurts, because they can sense this is a place that I can do some emotional dumping. And I kind of think that she already knows there's a reason certain people come toward me, and I believe he's among them. And I could see that he's coming back around at some point. That is a cyclical thought. But she's aware of that with multiple people in her life, not just him. And she knows she can overthink all the different ways something could play out. But I still feel like she has some safeguards against going down that road. Now, maybe one of her safeguards is I have to care about more than just one person or one thing in my life, so that I distribute my empathic abilities in more than one place, so I don't get hyper-focused. And so she may intentionally find herself, doing other activities that keep her brain busy. That might be a pattern or a mechanism that she has developed in order to not get accidentally, hyper focused and be on that hamster wheel of thoughts about one person. I could picture her keeping a fairly full life on one hand. Queen of Swords in the reverse. She won't let herself look him up. She will not let herself seek him out. She makes sure that it's even though he's always right there on the outside of her mind, it's like if you close a window, it's a glass window, you can still see through it, but you're not actively interacting with the outside world because you've closed the window. So it muffles sound, it prevents the wind from coming in, but you can still see out it. I feel like that's how she energetically is. It's not like I ever forget him or that he's out of my mind, but I choose not to let myself interact. And I'm definitely not going to go seeking him out and looking him up or any of that. but oh, he buzzes over there somewhere in the side of my brain. But I don't let myself focus on him anymore, or at all. She gives, I kind of think that this is wonderful because she refuses to let herself become either an over helper or a super, like here's what I think the pitfall is. This is just me talking. I don't know that I'm right, but if you want to care and you want to help, and you can't help it, that's just part of your nature. That is so beautiful. However, when you take on other people's lives as if it is your own, you can actually trespass into their world, start trying to micromanage them, even get frustrated with, why won't you do this? This is better for you. I know that this is better for you. I care about you. And it's like, back the F up, though. And we have to say that to ourselves, even if we're the super givers. Back the F off. We can't tell other people what's good for them, even if, well, we can say it, but we can't, beat them over the head with it. They have a right to do what they need to do, make their mistakes. We wouldn't want somebody else stopping us from what we want to be or who we want to act like. So let people make their mistakes. Love them and maybe say our piece, but then release at the same time. And that is so hard to do when we care. My left ear has like almost like that buzzing in it. 8 of Pentacles. Yeah. So she, in order to do that, she self-focuses on what can I do to better my own life. Perfect. She develops. She probably has somebody who's like, maybe she studies different things. She's out there, doing different hobbies. Maybe she's developing things in her life. Maybe she works really hard. Maybe she's got a side hustle. She makes sure that she pours some of her caring back into herself. That is an amazing empath, to know how to not make her life's mission other people, but rather to say, I care enough, and then I give space and I make sure that I care about this person too. The one person I do have control over, the only person I should have control over. And what do? I invest in this person. Awesome. So awesome. She's like, this is a very, I would say, a very self-aware empath, knows the pitfalls, knows, like the pros and the cons, knows how to use this incredible gift that she's got, and knows how to like put in some safeguards so she doesn't go off the rails and accidentally become a tyrant. Fantastic. She is so ready for a partnership. Holy hell. Even the fact she has not chased him. You notice that? She has not chased him at all. We can see why now. Meanwhile, he's the one saying, I need to come home to her. It's great because she's not chasing him. She doesn't call him up and, hey, come over, and he doesn't answer. And hey, I made dinner. You want to come over? And he doesn't answer. She doesn't do any of that. Not even energetically. She may think, a nice thought of him from time to time, but she doesn't let herself get on that loop. That's awesome. It definitely gives the space for, he needs to come to his own conclusions about things, right? And that's what needed to happen. Maybe that's always what needs to happen, right? Each person has to decide for themselves. I'm a big believer in that. I don't like groups. I don't join groups very frequently unless it's just like a sky gazing group, because I don't have a telescope and they do, and I want to learn from them. That's more like educational, but otherwise I'm not a fan of groups, because I don't want, even if I agree with somebody, I don't want my thoughts to necessarily be in with yours, because there's probably going to be different motives, and I want to maintain my own autonomy, and I want to be able to speak for myself about what I really think. And so I don't like groups very much. So I could see how this is her making sure that she's not trying to like absorb somebody into what she senses or feels. Let them come to their own conclusions. Let them take their own actions. What's so great about this is giving space, I think, to this divine masculine to operate as the divine masculine. He's got to be the action taker. When I say him, please note, this could still be a same-sex couple, right? But it's whomever needed space to, like take the action on their own motivation, their own accord. They got to do what they got to do. All she's got to focus on is her own self. It gives personal freedom and autonomy to each individual, which I think is a really good thing in my mind. So what's the outcome on this? What's the outcome here? Page of Cups and the Three of Wands. Well, she's definitely going to be hearing from him in no small way. This is, you know, the coming forward. Again, the pages are messengers, but this is the emotional message now. So it's not tangible. So it's what we've been talking about this whole time. He's not sending text messages. He's not sending emails. He's somebody who's like, I have to show it in my face, in my body language. I have to show it with my energy. I have to see her. This Three of Wands is anywhere from 3 days to 3 months. And again, we can't even see her face. Her back is turned. She's like, I ain't worried about it at all. That is not my lookout. If whatever anybody else is going to do or not do, if they're going to come talk to me or not talk to me, I'm not going to be waiting, looking at the calendar every day. Is today the day? She's over here staring up at the full moon saying, I don't have to worry about what you're going to do. That's your business. Until you make your business my business, it's none of my business. I've got other things to do. I've got other mysteries to solve. I'm not trying to make you my project that I got to, you know, sleuth out what you might do or might not do and when you might do it. Not my problem. This is so great because there isn't any built anticipation on her part, which might make it that much better, smoother, and calmer for them. You know, her life is not being lived on whether or not she hears from them. Got the Seven of Swords. They may be trying to like, I'm not scared to do this. I'm not scared to do this. Look at all my muscles. But I think that that's a bit of a lie. This is definitely somebody who's flexing and fronting a little bit. They will come across like they're not scared. I think that they are like sweaty palms, you know, dry mouth, the whole 9 yards. But they don't look scared at all. That's great. And we have the World card. New cycle is beginning. So we're already kind of like seeing, just with the shifts that we've seen within him, we already know he's going to be playing things out differently. He's shifting from the King of Swords mentality into the King of Cups mentality, like we saw at the beginning. He's shifting from thoughts into feelings. Feelings that were always there, but used to be buried under like this strict restraint of thoughts. And I think that this is him able to say, I'd be so much happier if I could express emotion, if I didn't stay aloof, because I actually love this person. I feel these feelings, and it would make me so much happier. I know I'm actually excited at the concept of sharing love with somebody that I adore. And now I want to go and be around her to express that. This is going to feel very different. They're not returning as the person that they were before. They are scared, but they're going to hide it pretty well because they're doing the brave thing. This is super brave for someone like them because this is the first time they've done this, from what I can tell. They've been a King of Swords most of their life, and they're about to become the King of Cups. That's a big, big, big step for them. So the emotional like expression, dealing with emotions, feeling emotions, not turning them into clinical, you know, observations, but instead like showing, like they could become very tender. They could be somebody very romantic, but I'm picturing it's going to be a lot less of gestures. This person could be, you know, somebody who all of a sudden like they want to hold hands a lot. They, you know, want those little simple things, you know, walk by you in the kitchen and they're going to, you know, make a point of touching you. You know, there's just those simple things that you can see. Heck, I mean, my dog, Aries, is like, he just comes over and boinks me in the back of the calf when I'm standing in the kitchen. It's just, hi, Mom. You know, like that kind of expression of, I like my mom, you know, and she's probably making me some food. Sometimes he just does that and then goes and lays down. He's not even saying, I want this or I want that. He's just letting me know he's there. And I feel like that nonverbal expression of affection is like, that's so, I'm not saying anybody is an animal or a dog, although I think we're all animals. And I say that with love. I especially say that about dogs. So I mean that as a compliment, not as a negative. But anyway, you guys, I'm going to leave this here. Thank you guys so much. Dwayne, you angel, thank you so much. So generous, sweetheart. Wonderful to catch you. All right, you guys, I am going to get to some zodiacs. I'm going to break for a bit and go check on my boy for a minute, and I've got to respond to a phone call, and then I will be back and we'll get some of the zodiacs out. Guys, thank you again. So incredibly generous. All right, everybody. I'm going to bounce out. I'll see you again in just a bit. Bye for right now. Thank you again, Signs and Sinks.